they force the breadwinning spouse to work harder? Can they?
Family court judges cannot force anybody to work, but what they
Right.
can do is they can force them to pay a certain amount in support.
Right.
Whether they work or not,
But
it's their problem.
isn't that killing the goose that laid the golden egg? I mean,
No, because usually what ends up happening in those situations is, I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
There was a case a couple of years ago where a man retired, took early retirement.
Yeah.
He worked for many years as a teacher.
Yeah.
And then they split up, and then he took early retirement. So at the time of separation, he was earning as a teacher $75,000 a year. The support was based on $75,000 a year. A few years later, he took early retirement. He was able to tap into his pension.
okay.
He went back to court and he said to the judge, "Judge, look, I'm now only earning 60% of my $75,000, which at the time was roughly $40,000. He asked for the support to be reduced. The judge said, "Buddy, you shouldn't have taken early retirement. You've got a wife and kids to support, so I'm going to make you continue to pay based on $75,000, even though you're really only earning 40."
Right.
So did the judge order him to go back to work? No. But did the
He
judge
just-
give him relief based on his lowered income?
No.
No.
Interesting. So he's in effect forcing him to go back to work.
Or
Right.
use a disproportionate share of his net income to pay
Right.
support.
Now, and that brings me to sort of, so, and this is, I like the way this is discussion going, because it's actually, we followed, in a way, a bit of a formula. We're now at this situation where we're cutting support and, I guess, what do you call them when it, I know support, child support.
Child support, spousal support.
Spousal support.
Right,
So,
or alimony.
At what point, I mean, at what point are you, the breadwinning spouse, are they off the hook for the child support? And at what point are they off the hook with the spousal support?
Very common question. Got to be in the top 5 for family
Okay.
law lawyers. When do I have to stop paying
Yeah.
child support?
Right.
Or spousal support? And again, quote, it depends.
Okay.
Because for children, a child who is a dependent,
Yeah.
an economic dependent, the parent who that child lives with has the right to collect child support for that child.
Okay.
So it's not that you pay the child.
Right.
You pay the parent who's housing the child
Right.
who is a dependent.
Right.
Well, a child no longer is a dependent when they're married.
Right.
A child is no longer dependent when they're working full time. A child is no longer dependent when they have graduated from high school or
Right.
university and moved out and have their own job. But what happens to children who are over 18 years old, who are in school full time, in university full time, or they're part-time in university, working part-time, or they're part-time in university,
Right.
but they have medical issues that prevent them from
Right.
being a full-time student. Now we get into, is that child an economic dependent?
Right.
So I think we would all agree that when a child is in university full-time, they're still an economic dependent.
Economic dependent.
What happens about that 26-year-old child who's now working on his 3rd degree?
Right.
Is that child still an economic dependent? Shouldn't that child maybe be working as a TA, part-time, summers, to support their 3rd degree?
You tell me. That's
So
yeah.
now, let's work with that fact scenario.
Okay.
That child who's now working on his 3rd degree, child lives with mom. Mom thinks it's a great idea that child's working on his 3rd degree. Mom wants dad, former husband, to continue paying support.
Right.
So that mom can still have a bedroom for him, and mom wants dad to continue paying a portion of his tuition for that 3rd degree. Dad takes mom to court to ask the judge to stop it.
Right.
So now what's the answer? The answer might be, what have the other children done in that family? Did dad support the other 2 through 3 degrees?
Right.
Did dad go to university himself and have 3 degrees? Is mom a 3-degree mom?
Okay.
Versus no other children got this far in university? Dad didn't pay for anybody to go to university, or dad only paid for the 1st degree for the first 2 children. Why should the 3rd one get a 3rd degree? Or did dad have no degrees and dad was just a blue-collar worker, and the fact that this kid got 1 degree out of his parents should be enough? So those are some of the
Yes.
considerations.
Okay.
We had a case a couple of years ago where the dentist said, you know what? I don't want to pay for the 2nd degree in the United States. It's too expensive. The judge looked at it and said, but you did for the other 2 kids, plus you're a dentist with 2 degrees. You should pay for the 3rd degree or the 2nd degree.